Okay, welcome to day 2 of Knot School. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite knots, which is the figure 8. We did the figure 8 stopper knot at the end of day 1, which, if you don't remember, looks like this. You haven't seen the day 1 episode, check it out. So that's a figure 8 stopper knot. So if you had the rope running through something, you could use a figure 8 stopper knot to keep it from sliding through. So I think of, like, we put them on sailboats, we put them on the ends of jib sheets, or if you are rappelling off of a rock face, you might put it at the bottom of the rope so you don't rappel off the rope. So in this episode, we're going to do 2 more figure 8 knots. The first is a figure 8 on a bight, and this just puts a really strong loop at the end of a rope that you can then use, connect it to a carabiner, put it through a cleat, something like that. So I'm going to create a bight. So you remember, this is the standing end, this is the working end of the rope, and then this is our bight. I mentioned this in the last episode. This is what happens when you leave a knot in a rope for a really long time. If I weren't quarantined at home, I would have a better rope to use, but I'm working with what I've got. So figure 8 on a bight is just going to start with a big bight, and we're going to leave a loop at the end of this. So I'm going to take this entire bight of rope, and I'm going to fold it over itself, leaving a hole there, and the working end coming out here. Now the bight, which I've looped over, I'm going to make it a little bit longer, is now going to go under my standing and working end and come back down through, and then I'm going to hold on to both the standing and working end and pull tight. So then we get a nice clean loop on the end of a piece of rope. Really, really nice, really, really simple. The nice thing about these are, particularly like for climbing or something, or if a lot of weight gets put on this, this whole thing will constrict and it gets really hard to get undone. But if you take it and turn it over and push it back, it's super easy to get this unthreaded. And that's one of the nice things about it. That's the advantage of the figure 8 on a bight over just a regular overhand loop. So that's it. Let's do that one more time. Cross it over, then bring it under, and then bring it down and through. So that's your figure 8 on a bight. And then if I were really tying it, not on a table for everyone to see, it would look like this. So in your hand, cross it over, cross it behind. God, this rope is hard to work with. And back down through. And then to loosen it, push that through, and that'll loosen everything up. Figure 8 on a bight. Super popular, super easy to use. Okay, the other version of this, or the second figure 8, is the figure 8 follow through, or what I was taught is called the rewoven figure 8, and it starts with a figure 8 on its own, loosely on the rope. And this is primarily used for climbers to tie into a climbing rope. And so I'm going to make just a regular figure 8 on its own and back down through, right? So very simple, just like we did yesterday, but I'm leaving a big long tail at the end, right? And I don't want to pull this too tight because I'm going to work the sharp end back through this, right? And so this would go through a carabiner or someone's harness if they were rock climbing. And then I'm just going to follow the 8 that I've done and reweave it or follow through. So pull it up. See how these two are parallel? We're just mimicking what the rope originally did. So So we're going to follow this one, follow through behind. Now it goes through this hole. And then back up through. And so I'm ending up in the same place as the figure eight on a bite, but it gives me the ability to pass this through something to secure it. If I were climbing, this would be no good. I need that to be longer because I need to have a longer tail on the end. So again, to break this open, we can loosen it there. Pull it back through. Right, we're starting there, but I'm actually going to make this a little bit longer. Pull out a little bit more. Start our figure eight. So there's our starting figure eight. And now we're just going to follow this through. When I was taught this for climbing a million years ago, it was called a rewoven figure eight. Now I think people call it a follow-through figure eight or a figure eight follow-through. So I'm mimicking what the cord is doing originally. Back behind. Down through here. Follow it, right? Here's my line. So I'm just going to keep following this one up through there. Not perfect. This one is crossing over here. So we'll do it one more time. Now I'm just going to weave it through. So let's go up here. Make that a little bit smaller. Then down behind. I think I flipped this over from the last time. See how it's just paralleling the knot from before. And then back down through. Perfect. Thing of beauty. So, figure eight follow through or rewoven figure eight. Remember, you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to know every knot. You just have to know the knots you need to know. The trick is figuring out what knots work for you. So that is two figure eights, and the one we did yesterday is 3 figure eights. Next episode, I think we're going to do the bowline, which has been requested by a number of people. All right. Like, subscribe. I'll see you outside.